Whee! I hope I don't die on the other side. That would suck. Okay, so don't jump through the portal from a ridiculous height. But hey, at least all my stuff is still here. That's nice. Hello, and welcome to the video. My name is ArgentSargent, and this gentleman with the funky facial hair right here is Chinpachi. Survival helper. The world has been freed from the tyranny of the Ender Dragon. The game has been completed, and I have a nice little project just to get started on, well, life after the Ender Dragon. Just a little something I've had in mind for a few days that I'm gonna just get smashed out. Yeah, in a little super speedy third-person time-lapse. And it's done. For anybody who couldn't guess by its construction what this thing above me is, it's a creeper farm. Creepers are going to spawn up inside this big grey box over here, and they're going to come down this tube, and then they will be harvested for gunpowder. But why? I'll tell you in a minute. But first, let me talk to you a little bit about a lovely redstone device that I like. This is called a dispenser, and you've seen it before. We know what it does. You put a redstone pulse into it and it will dispense things. And it will even fire arrows. Just like this. Ow! My contraption is comprised of a couple of elements. The first one is a redstone clock. Boink. Boink. Ba 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 ba. Tick 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 tick. But it burns itself out. Put another one of those in there and that should solve your problem. Super. Now if I power this block, it turns it off. So the way this works is that when this torch is on, it powers this line. Great. Which then powers this block after a 2-tick delay, and then turns that torch off. When that torch turns off, it unpowers the block, which turns the torch back on, and that works in a complete circuit. So all the time, this lever is not powering this block. That's allowed to do that. Just like that. And that's how a redstone clock works. I can draw a repeater off it and then just run a line of dust and I will be able to continuously deploy from a dispenser. If you take another repeater, you can run that signal out over quite a considerable distance. Now, not terribly hard to do. You can just put this repeater here and it will draw a signal out of the block. A redstone line might do that anyway, but they will just continue to fire like that until they run out of arrows. Or, you know, whatever it is that they've got in them. Sweet. And that's basically the bones of it. You've got the clock, you've got the dispenser, and you've got the grid that connects them all together. Now, if you were to place something like this high up in the sky, we've seen this on Moroncraft, so it's a bit of a rehash, you can point them down at the ground, fill them up with TNT, and make a massive hole. You may well be able to see where I'm going with this, not logistically, but intellectually. So with enough time dedicated to the cause of harvesting gunpowder and sand and making lots of TNT, we can have lots of TNT. I mean, I appreciate it's not a huge amount, but it should be more than enough for my purposes. Let's pack this stuff down and go to our location. Unfortunately, I missed the maiden voyage of my device here. However, we can still see it go. Let's hit the recording button, start the clock, and dispense some TNT. Now, why is it that I've chosen to do this? Well, I shall tell you. I was having a little bit of a review of Survival Helper 11, and I watched it and I thought to myself, that TNT thing seems like a decent idea. Maybe we can take that to a somewhat more unreasonable conclusion and find a super speedy way of getting to the end portal. So this is what that is. back to it. We'll just let this thing tick over for a little bit, and eventually we'll look down and we'll see an end portal, I dare say. If I've guessed this anything like correctly. It turns out I did not guess it anything like correctly. I was miles off. None of the holes revealed the end portal, and I ran out of TNT. So I went to get some more sand and stocked back up on my new favourite block. I went down one of the holes, checked which direction the stronghold went, made a new rack of dispensers, and tried again. I knew where the portal was now, so this little line just put the finishing touch on this utterly monstrous crater and made it all worth it. Ah, lovely. Just time for the last little bit. Wonderful. Ah! Oh! Oh, game. You do keep me on my toes, don't you? Death by fall damage narrowly avoided. A few more explosions helped me finally reach my goal. And there it is. The exposed ender portal. Now isn't it nice just to be able to get to the ender portal the easy way? Yes, that's nice and straightforward now. But that really is quite hideous. Yeah, that's really awful. But you know, if I'd used the F3 menu, I could have just used the coordinates and just set a dispenser directly above the portal. Well, I don't really know what else to say. The absolute wanton destruction that can be caused by the gaining of gunpowder is definitely not something that should be left in the hands of people who are just going to wreak destruction. There are more productive uses for your TNT. However, I thought it would be a nice cathartic release of all the frustration I felt at having to spend about an hour seeking out the ender portal. I don't think it's any quicker, and after the dust has settled it certainly isn't any prettier. But hey, now we know how it's done. After I've spent all this time mucking about in survival help and just blowing things up, what's next? Hit me up down in the comments below, please. Thank you very much for coming. I have been ArgentSargent, and you have been fantastic. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.